The first week of United Nations Climate Change Conference produced pledges on coal and deforestation in the aim of holding global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Despite the significant outcomes, climate activists are calling for greater action as COP26 enters its second week. Tom Clark has been looking at the pledges in more detail and has this report.
The conference that ends climate change or a flop spilling hot air. What's the mood a week into COP26?
I think we still have quite a long way to go.
So far so good. Tensions of contradictions, but I am optimistic.
The goals that have been announced are not going to be enough, I think, to achieve the goals that were set.
The UK presidency marshalled big political announcements on forests, finance, on phasing out coal. Deals that could shave crucial tenths of degrees off projected global warming. But they're not enough.
That requires every single government to actually deliver on all the commitments that they've made. It's not enough to make commitments. You have to follow through with action as well. And that's why it is not job done by any stretch of the imagination. I want us to leave here being able to say with credibility that we have kept 1.5 within reach.
His position not helped by some pledges already fraying at the edges. Indonesia now rowing back on its promise to end deforestation by 2030. Poland, named in a press release as having made ambitious pledges on cutting coal, won't actually do so until 2049. They may be fragile, but these pledges and promises raised hopes way higher than they were when this great climate roadshow began. But away from the crowds and the slogans, teams of negotiators are still arguing over these texts, the rules of the Paris Agreement. And until they're signed off, the world doesn't really have a process by which it can fairly cut carbon emissions. It's what this summit is all about. Will enough nations yield for negotiations to advance?
Your Excellency, hello. I'm Tom from Sky News. Hi. Very well.
Enter Costa Rica, which diverted its defence budget into welfare and environment 70 years ago with a message of encouragement.
We're talking about a life and death for all of humanity. So does it make any sense to invest in military or wage commercial wars when we are facing perhaps the doom of the fate of humanity?
The likelihood of success? Well, a good judge is the former French PM Laurent Fabius, the father of the Paris Agreement.
We come to the question of what we call rule book, the question of finance, to the question of ambition, and to the question of transparency. And these are the main elements to say at the end of the COP, and only at the end of the COP, is it a success or failure? And I know by experience that there is not a big difference between the two.
On Monday, high-level talks begin, which will help dictate which side of that fine line our futures fall. Tom Clark, Sky News, Glasgow.